I'm David Perry in for Casey Kasem. Now we're up to the first top 40 hit for a Seattle band that was originally named Mookie Blaylock, until Mookie's agent told them Mookie's name belonged to Mookie. This band actually grew out of two other Seattle bands, one called Green River, the other called Mother Love Bone. When those groups fell apart, members of each got together and formed a new band and recruited lead singer Eddie Vedder from California. The band's members were big basketball fans. In fact, they still are. And they came up with the idea of naming themselves after a basketball player. Seemed like a pretty cool notion at the time, but after considering the names of Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, or Magic Johnson, they decided they just didn't have the right rock and roll ring to them. The name they decided was absolutely perfect belonged to a member of the New Jersey Nets, a hot guard named Mookie Blaylock. Well, the band started playing around town under the name Mookie Blaylock and started getting write-ups in the national press. And shortly after that, the group got a letter from Mookie's agent. He said the star was flattered, but his name wasn't available for the band to use. So they kicked around a bunch of other names, a lot of weird ones. And the one they finally stuck with was a tribute to Eddie Vedder's great-grandmother, whose name was Pearl. Pearl was famous in the Vedder family for the amazing preserves she'd make. The name Pearl's Jam sounded good, but not quite right. But Pearl Jam was just weird enough to do it for them. And that's how Pearl Jam became Pearl Jam. Even so, the band still liked Mookie a lot, so much so that they used his uniform number, the number 10, as the title of their first album. This week, the group named after a condiment has survey song number 25 on Casey's Top 40. This is Pearl Jam with Daughter.
Alone. Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem on Casey's Top 40. Well, now we're up to the song Better Man. It's by a group that says we'd all be better people if we stopped using frogs for science experiments in school. Eddie Vedder, lead singer of the Seattle grunge rock band called Pearl Jam, has long been involved with causes that involve animal rights. He's a longtime vegetarian who often tells his audiences that it's wrong to wear fur, and recently he added another animal rights cause to his band's agenda. Working with the group called PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, Pearl Jam is spearheading a movement to protect frogs. He feels that the practice of using frogs for dissection in school labs is cruel and unnecessary. Eddie argues that everything that has to be learned from such a process can be learned through life-size models or computer programs. Eddie says that frogs are a lot happier living in swamps than being experimented on by high school students. To help in the effort, Pearl Jam has set up a special 800 number for students who call to receive a petition they can circulate in school. The number is 1-800-95-FROGS. 1-800-95-FROGS. This week, the band that's working hard for the cause of animal rights moves up 2 notches to number 24 on Casey's Top 40. Here's Pearl Jam with Better Man.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. And dropping 3 notches to 35 on Casey's Top 40, here's the group Pearl Jam. Their lead singer, Eddie Vedder, encourages kids to learn as much as they can about the political process. And he suggests to do that, they watch the proceedings of the U.S. Congress on the cable channel C-SPAN. This is Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam with Better Man.
Wait till Casey's Top 40.
From Hollywood, this is Casey Kasem. One of the most acclaimed alternative rockers around today is Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam. But his latest music is a far cry from the grunge sound that made him famous. He just recorded 2 songs with the most popular singer in Pakistan. They're songs from the hit film Dead Man Walking. Eddie Vedder recorded them with Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. He's a Pakistani singer who's a superstar throughout Southeast Asia. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan is a master of the hypnotic Sufi Muslim devotional music called Qawwali. It's music that sets mystical Sufi poetry to repetitive rhythms. And Qawwali music isn't just popular in Asia. It also has its fans in the USA. Joan Osborne says she has plans to study Qawwali music. And Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam likes Qawwali so much that he teamed up with Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan to create 2 songs for Dead Man Walking. Here's a piece of one of them. That's a bit of The Face of Love by Pakistani singer Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan and grunge rocker Eddie Vedder. 2 two diverse stars who can be heard together on the soundtrack to the hit film Dead Man Walking. Now, on with the countdown.
Number 5.
Singer Eddie Vedder recently took some time off from Pearl Jam to team up with Pete Townsend on Pete's latest CD. They shared vocals on the song Heart to Hang On To and performed the song live on The Late Show with David Letterman. Now, here's Eddie leading his own band, Pearl Jam, on the song that holds steady this week called Last Kiss.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, from the Canadian border to the Mexican border, these are radio's hottest hits. I'm Casey Kasem. Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 Extra by Pearl Jam, a band that fell apart for more than a year because of a bad case of food poisoning. It was back in 1997. Pearl Jam was riding high on its double platinum album, No Code. The band was opening for the Rolling Stones. And then, 20 minutes into their first show, lead singer Eddie Vedder collapsed on stage with a bad case of food poisoning. Even though the band tried to explain that Eddie was sick, their fans were angry. They had come to see Pearl Jam. They booed the band as they left the stage. And when Pearl Jam canceled their next few shows, fans became downright hostile. Eddie Vedder says, quote, "It was as if the whole music scene was having a nervous breakdown. The energy that we needed to tour disappeared, and it created a crisis within the band. It started with me getting sick, and it wound up with us falling apart." Eddie says that throughout much of the following year, Pearl Jam didn't exist, but eventually they began talking to each other. They began making music again, and they came back with the biggest hit of their career. With an American Top 20 Extra, here's Pearl Jam with that smash from 1999, Last Kiss. Here's a smash from 1995 by Pearl Jam, a band led by Eddie Vedder, a singer who came from a big family. He has 3 half-brothers and 7 foster siblings as well. Pearl Jam with Better Man.
Casey's Coast to Coast.